Welcome to Croxley Green Baptist Church Holy Week Reflection.
Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and head across the lake to Bethsaida while he sent the people home. After telling everyone goodbye, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Late that night, the disciples were in their boat in the middle of the lake, and Jesus was alone on land. He saw that they were in serious trouble, rowing hard and struggling against the wind and waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning. Alexa, what time is it? The time is 3 a.m. Hope you're having a good morning. Jesus came towards them, walking on water. He intended to go past them, but when they saw him walking on the water, they cried out in terror, thinking he was a ghost. They were all terrified when they saw him. But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I am here." Then he climbed into the boat, and the wind stopped. They were totally amazed.
I'm not sure how many pairs of shoes I own, far too many if truth be told, but there are so many different types of shoes for different needs. What we wear on a country walk is not the same as what we would wear to work in an office or to a party. My garden wellies sit by the back door at the ready for me to rush out and get the washing in or do a quick bit of gardening. I have longer wellies for camping for when it gets really wet. But what do you put on your feet when you're going to walk on water? Do you ever wonder what Jesus had on his feet when he walked across that lake in the middle of the night? Did he take his shoes off and carry them to the other side, or did he get in the boat with soggy sandals? I suppose the point is that Jesus' feet were always prepared for whatever came next, not because of what he wore on them, but because he was always ready to go where his Father told him to go. And sometimes that must have been really, really pleasant places, walking along with his friends, talking and sharing and strolling through the green grass of the hills by the lake where he fed the 5,000, dancing at parties and weddings. But some of the places Jesus' feet walked must have been the last place he wanted to go. Perhaps we think that walking on water was the most miraculous place that Jesus put his feet, but I can think of one even more hard to believe. In our recent trip to Israel, we were shown the Roman steps outside the chief priest's house. These steps led towards Pilate's quarters and down towards where Herod lived in the city. And Jesus would have walked up and down those steps through that night as he was passed back and forth between these people who seemed to have control over his life on that Good Friday. At any time he could have taken a different path, and yet he put one foot obediently in front of another, until his bare feet were walking the flagstones of Jerusalem's streets leading to Golgotha. Of all the places that Jesus' very human feet had taken him, this was the hardest. Those feet that had danced at parties, walked with friends and steadily strode across the waves of the lake, now walked and tripped and staggered towards his death. Those feet that the disciples must have stared at in their boat, wondering just how those normal looking heels and toes had kept him afloat amongst the wind and the waves, were now going to be nailed into a rough cross and broken forever. Obedient feet, even to the point of death. Sometimes in life we're not sure where God is leading us, and all we can do is put one foot in front of another. So often we can't prepare by wearing the right shoes because life is uncertain and we don't know what ground we're going to find ourselves on. And in this time of change and unexpected restrictions, God calls us to follow him with obedient feet, to put one foot in front of another, and to keep our eyes on him, just like a toddler learning to walk keeps their eyes on their encouraging parent. One step at a time. That's all he's asking.